Hi students, in today's video I'm going to explain you about homeostasis, its importance, its feedback mechanisms. Before entering into the actual topic, let me tell you a small story of a little boy called Tinku. This Tinku is a very energetic guy. One day, Tinku went to his cousin's wedding. We know, right? As always, our Indian weddings had lots of foods and delicious sweets. After seeing all those foods, Tinku couldn't resist. He ate gulab jam, laddus, shawarma, biryani, papads, ice creams, everything. After eating all these things, the sugar in the blood increased. Tinku's blood was feeling sad after noticed this and said, "Oh no, too much sugar." Now the pancreas said, "Don't worry, I am here to help you. I will send one of my superhero." And pancreas sent a superhero called insulin. Now this insulin rushed into the blood and convinced fat cells, liver cells and muscle cells, "Hey cells, there is too much sugar in the blood. Please take some and store it for later." Now the cells agreed and took the sugar. Slowly Tinku's blood sugar came back to normal. Later in that evening, Tinku was playing with his cousins. He was dancing, singing, jumping, running, what not. He was in very joyful mood. He even forgot the time. It is around 8 p.m. Because of this too much physical activity, Tinku's blood sugar dropped too low. Again, blood noticed this and said, "Oh no, I need more sugar for energy." Now the pancreas said, "Don't worry, I have one more superhero," and he sent glucagon. This glucagon ran to the liver and said, "Hey liver, it's emergency. Please release some stored sugar back into the blood." The liver agreed and sugar came back into the blood. Now Tinku's energy was restored and he was back to dancing again. This is how our body smartly balances sugar using insulin when sugar is high and using glucagon when sugar is low. This smart balancing is called homeostasis. Now we will see the definition of homeostasis. Homeostasis is the process by which the body keeps its internal environment stable and balanced even when the external environment changes. Here, the internal environment means any process of our body. It may be blood sugar level, as I explained in Tinku's story. It may be temperature, it may be pH, it may be heart rate, it may be blood pressure, it may be water balance, it may be blood volume, etc. And external environment refers to our surrounding environment. Like in balancing body temperature, if external environment may be hot in summer days, may be cold in winter days, whatever the external temperature may be, our internal body temperature is maintained at normal, that is 37 degrees Celsius. This smart balancing is called homeostasis. The word homeostasis is derived from two Greek words. Homeos, which means same or similar, and stasis means standing still or stable condition. Here, one more term you need to remember is dynamic. Dynamic means active or changing or constantly moving, like that. We call homeostasis as a dynamic process because our internal environment is keep on changing in response to internal or external factors. Hence, we call it as dynamic process, means constantly changing. Next, we will see feedback systems. These are sequential steps or events used by our body to maintain homeostasis. Here, remember three words: monitoring, evaluating, adjusting. I am repeating again: monitoring, evaluating, adjusting. We will correlate these words with Tinku's story. Pancreas regularly monitors blood glucose levels. Next word is evaluating. Nothing but detecting imbalance, means rising or dropping blood sugar levels. Next word is adjusting. Nothing but adjusting the altered levels back to normal. That is what they mentioned here. Feedback systems are the body's way of monitoring, evaluating and adjusting internal or external conditions to keep everything balanced. Next, components of feedback stimulus or receptor, control center and effector. Two more words are stimulus and controlled condition. Again we will correlate these words with Tinku story. First is stimulus. Here increase in blood sugar or decrease in blood sugar in Tinku's body is the stimulus. Next is controlled condition, is nothing but the variable that our body was trying to keep stable. Here Tinku's scenario, Tinku's body is trying to keep which variable stable? Blood glucose, right? So here controlled condition is blood glucose. Next is receptor. What these receptors do is they'll detect changes and send information to control center. Here they're given examples of various kinds of receptors and what they detect. For example, baroreceptors. These receptors detect blood pressure in the arteries. And thermoreceptors, they detect body temperature. Osmoreceptors, they detect water concentration in the blood. And glucose receptors, they detect blood glucose levels or sugar levels in the blood. Next is proprioceptors, they detect body position and movement. Next is JG cells, nothing but juxtaglomerular cells. They detect blood pressure in the kidney. Here in Tinku story, what are the receptors? Think once. They are glucose receptors, also known as GLUT receptors. These receptors detect changes in sugar levels and give input to control center. Next, control center. What it will do is, it receives input from the receptors, decides what action to take and sends output to the effector. Here they mention few examples of control center and what it controls. One is hypothalamus. It controls body temperature, thirst, hunger, water balance and hormone release. Next is pancreas. It controls blood sugar levels. Next is pituitary gland. It controls hormonal regulation. And medulla oblongata. It controls breathing rate, heart rate and blood pressure. In Tinku story, control center is pancreas. Next is effector. It carries out response to restore the balance. Few examples of effectors and their actions are given here. Muscles, their action is to shiver. Sweat glands, their action is to produce sweat. Next is blood vessels, their action is to either expand or narrow to alter the blood pressure. Next is liver, its action is release or store glucose. Next is kidneys, their action is adjust water and salt reabsorption. In Tinku story, effector is liver. Next we will see general feedback pathway. When there is a stimulus, homeostasis alters, nothing but controlled condition either increase or decrease, like blood pressure either increase or decrease or temperature either increase or decrease, like that. These changes were monitored by receptors. Receptors send input signals to control center. Now control center then process this information and send output signal to effector. Then response from effector make necessary corrections or adjustments and homeostasis is thus maintained. Next we will see types of feedback system. One is positive feedback system and other is negative feedback system. Think of an AC in our house which is set at 25 degrees Celsius, that is at room temperature. If the room gets hotter, then AC turns on and cools the room, and if room gets too cold, AC turns off. This is how negative feedback system will work. It will reverse as a change and keeps the condition stable. Here few examples are given, like our normal body temperature which is 37 degrees Celsius. If it goes beyond 37 or drops below 37, negative feedback loop will start its function to get back into normal. Similarly, normal blood glucose range is 70 to 99. Normal BP is 120 by 80 mm of Hg. When these values either increase or decrease, negative feedback loop will start. Next is positive feedback system. This system will strengthen or amplifies the process until the goal is reached. Remember this word here, until the goal is reached. Okay, for example, childbirth. During childbirth, uterus starts contracting. This stimulus is sent to brain and brain releases oxytocin. This oxytocin causes even more stronger contraction until baby is born. Similarly, when we have a cut, platelets start sticking to the damaged area. These platelets release chemicals that attract more platelets. This process of platelets gathering continues until the blood is clotted or clot is formed or bleeding stops. We will see detailed mechanisms of both the systems in next slides. First, we will see an example for negative feedback system. Whenever our blood pressure rises, our normal blood pressure is 120 by 80 mm of Hg, right? Whenever this blood pressure rises above the normal, maybe because of stress, exercise or anything, now the baroreceptors which are present in the walls of aorta and carotid sinus sense that there is an increase in the pressure. These baroreceptors then send nerve impulses to the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata now activates the nervous system and sends signals to heart and blood vessels. As these signals reach to heart and blood vessels, heart starts slowing down, heart rate starts slow down. This is called bradycardia, and similarly blood vessels start dilate. This process is vasodilation. Both these scenarios leads to a decrease in the blood pressure so that homeostasis is maintained. Now, what if the blood pressure starts decreasing or drops due to either dehydration or blood loss or accidents, whatever? Now, the baroreceptors in the walls of aorta and carotid sinus detect very less stretching in the arteries. So, very fewer nerve impulses are sent to the medulla oblongata. Now, the medulla oblongata activates the nervous system and again sends signals to heart and blood vessels. Heart rate increases. This is known as tachycardia, and similarly blood vessels constrict, which we call as vasoconstriction. Thereby blood pressure increases back to normal, thus maintaining the homeostasis. Next, we will see an example for positive feedback system. This is about the childbirth. Okay, the first step is fetal pressure on the cervix. As the labor pains begins for a woman, the baby's head pushes against the cervix, that is the lower part of the uterus. Then pressure causes the cervix to stretch and dilate so that baby can come out. There are stretch receptors present in the cervix. Whenever stretch is happened, these stretch receptors gets activated, and these receptors send nerve impulses to hypothalamus in the brain. Then the hypothalamus receives the signals and send the signals to posterior pituitary gland to release oxytocin. Now oxytocin enters the blood system and travels to the uterus, causing stronger uterine contractions. These stronger uterine contractions push the baby further down, causing more pressure on cervix. This results in more oxytocin release. The cycle is continued with increasing intensity and frequency of contractions until the baby is born. After delivery, the pressure on the cervix stops because the baby already came out, right? So no more pressure is there on the cervix. So no more nerve signals are sent. So oxytocin production also stops and contractions gradually stop. Thereby the loop terminate. This is about positive feedback system. That's it about today's videos, students. In next video, we'll discuss few more topics. Thanks for watching. If you have any doubts, please comment below.